Peace, everyone. This is Ross Timotheos, High Priest of the Temple of Divine. I'm going to be speaking a little bit for about 30 minutes about principles according to this channel and just basic principles of where I'm coming from. I got my whole stack of information that I want to share. So if you would like to sit and kick it with me and maybe even learn about some things, feel free. Well, it was basically some background about this stuff. I've been doing this, this pertaining to spiritual practices, cultivating understanding of spirituality. It all started back when I was in Taekwondo, back when I was in martial arts, and I was really young at the time, and we started learning about how the body works, and I started to get in tune with the way my body works and how I started to understand reality at that age. And then as I got older, I got into more different types of sports, but it was when I was in Taekwondo, I learned about how the energy moves through the body, and I was interested in plants at this age as well, and so I was interested in a lot about science. So I started to get a better understanding of the different Asiatic aspects of health and medicine and different principles like that, different ways of exercising and just becoming healthier. And I necessarily didn't have ideas about God. I always was interested in, just not magic, but the occult. I was always interested in religion. I was always interested in trying to understand cultures, different cultural perspectives, because of the way I was brought up. I didn't live in one place my whole life, so I've been many different places, so I have a very broad understanding of other people's lifestyles and also adapting to different lifestyles. And so I feel that I have a general understanding of different ways of life from multiple perspectives. But I think that a lot of that has influenced me to, go on the path of trying to find self more in depth as far as spiritual journey. So it wasn't until 2014, actually 2011, is when I had a near-death experience, which ultimately changed my life. From there, I became a vegetarian, or actually around that time, I became a fruitarian at first. I wanted to change my diet, change my lifestyle, to clean my body, to, pretty much it was like a rebirth. So I wanted to start over with my life. I wanted to create better things for myself. So I decided to, start with the diet. So I was a fruitarian for about maybe 6 months to a year. And then it was until that time when I transitioned into a vegan lifestyle due to changes in where I lived and changes in the environment, such as weather, because the weather influences certain ways how you would eat. So then I transitioned to vegan, and then I ultimately transitioned to a vegetarian, which actually during these stages I learned how the body interacts with earth and nature and the use of plants as medicines. Um, After I got out of Taekwondo, I started getting more into different aspects of martial arts and just all different types of arts in general, whether it be painting, music, and things like that. More things like sculptures, drawings, calligraphy, different types of writing, and and I feel that actually learning how to understand about how the body works actually allowed me to just easily grasp on different concepts when it came to self-study. And that's what I wanted to get to next. What I wanted to talk about was um, where I come from is a place of self-study. I do a lot of studying on my own. I do a lot of research for myself. It's just I like knowledge and I like understanding a lot of things, and so I'm interested in pursuing those questions that I have about reality, and either in a way of researching it exoterically, and now that I see fit to research it spiritually. And so I've been on this spiritual journey for a little over 10 years now, and I feel that I've started at a good point, studying religions, different types of religions, and this was in during my middle school ages, and I'm 23 years old now, so I've been out of middle school for a long time, and so during those different stages of my life, I've learned different things about people, culture, and religions, and mystical experiences, and learning about my own cultures, learning about my own history, my own background, and delving deep within me to really see what's going on in the background of who you truly are in your genes. So basically from there, um, I wanted to speak also about the cannabis and how that was influential in my life. It was also during these younger ages, and I'm not suggesting this to all the younger people, but at a young age, I was interested in the spiritual aspects of things, as far as my religious understandings grew from different cultures that I studied. My understanding of cannabis and its relationship to these cultures grew with the general cultivation of my interest. So the more I better understood through interactions with cannabis and the way I looked at things, it allowed me to gain a better perspective because I was using it in a spiritual, religious perspective. I was using it in ceremonial perspectives, and so this is different from that perspective. Is different from the ordinary, mundane. Have a smoke, have a toke every once in a while. No, this was a religious experience where I was experiencing, God within me, and so it led me into deeper understandings of different cultures as I grew older, with that understanding that cannabis is a sacrament, and also different other plants, because of my interest in plants, because that is how I got into understanding really who I am is through nature. So if it is anything, I agree that nature is what ultimately influenced me to gain a better understanding of my higher self, and ultimately become the priest of the temple of divine. And so I'm here to, express to others how to gain gnosis, and to teach others the existence of their beings, and to have tolerance and compassion to others' lifestyles and their choices and beliefs, while remaining at balance within themselves and restoring peace within their own communities. So my path and my life's mission, essentially, according to my position and status in the temple divine, is that I understand that salvation is attained through states of divine knowing of God. And so all of what I say is backed by this principle and core understanding, and that salvation is realized through the use of cannabis as a religious intent in meditation, prayer, and rituals and ceremonies. And this divine experience allows me to achieve states of understanding in which I'm in unison with the divine, and I'm in unison with this initial ancient indigenous understanding. And so now I want to just look over a couple notes. It's hard for me to actually speak on a lot of this without, not knowing what to say, because it's more of a feeling. It's not so much intellectual, but I have all this information trying to write about it because of the experiences that I've had. So we have 12 aspects of ourselves, and these 12 aspects of ourselves are basically faculties which allows us to function as who we are, human beings. And human beings are the highest creation of God. They are the highest creation of the divine mind of the cosmos. And so when we fully realize ourselves, we fully realize who we are as the God mind within us. And so I guess the basic principles that one could live by is through nature. So through nature, it is where you would be able to find salvation. And nature is a representation of the divine mind and the cosmos. Well, if you look in the cosmos and you wonder what mind that has, and that mind is within you, and that the substance of that mind, not just the mind itself, but the substance, its mind and thoughts, which are not separate from the mind, and its highest potential, because it is the God mind. When you start to ponder on that and cultivate that energy, that realization within you, you start to begin to notice how much you really don't know who you are, in a sense. When you start to ponder on that and build and cultivate and build, you really start to understand who you are, and then that's when you are able to access the power within you. And it's only by cultivating it. You're not going to do it by just reading it. You have to experience God within you, and this is the experience called states of gnosis. And so my basic understanding comes from, like I said, shamanism, many other things. Shamanism, the Kabbalah, different ancient occult systems, magical systems, also Tai Chi Chuan, different breathing techniques from martial arts and from China. Mainly from Africa and different other so many different places, so many different breathing techniques and different mystical art systems. What they consider mystical is just a reflection of that which most people cannot understand, or that which most people are not do not have access to. The mundane people do not have access to this type of information. And if you are watching this video, you've probably been researching this, or very interested in understanding religion, mystical states of consciousness, or just even trying to understand yourself. This is the Temple of Divine bases its systems off of 100% cultivation of self, things that you can do right now, this very second. For example, there's breathing techniques where you can change your posture and you can access different parts of yourself and also express different parts of yourself, release different energies, such as if you have negative feelings, you're able to learn how to harness the power of the universe, the universal mind, which is known as God or Allah or Exabihir, Brahman, Atman, Yahweh or Yahweh, different names, Shiva, Kalima, different divine deities, the Great Spirit, all these different connotations are what is called God. So when we start to understand that these are principles of different languages that exist within us, and that are a part of the cosmos, that are creative, that are the elements of life, the Elohim, this Allah, this means God. La is another term for El, but it's the feminine, and we of course understand that God is both masculine and feminine, and it is through the womb that the things are birthed, and so it is the womb that creates the universe as it is. So when we begin to realize where we really come from and the divine uterus and womb that we come from, we begin to realize the God force within us. And so this is not about becoming a group and trying to become new age. This is about going within yourself and cultivating the God force within you. And only you can do this. This is your salvation. And I'm not saying go and use cannabis or any other mystical plant to alter your consciousness. I'm telling you to go within yourself by learning different techniques that allows you to go beyond your ordinary states of perception and get a better understanding of your life. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. That's what I'm trying to show you. Most people think that, I want to sell them something. Yeah, I've created books. If you want to go read them, go ahead. They're there for that. But I'm not here to push that on you. I just want to explain the experiences that I had, because most people don't want to hear that. It's not fashionable. This information is not for the mundane, but and it's not for everyone. And so when you begin to uncover the layers, the matrix of your own reality and the matrix of your own creative self, you really start to understand the cosmic body within you, the realization of the truth within you. You start to go in the metaphysical understanding of yourself, and have that spiritual fulfillment. So you have to realize that all material things are a representation of spiritual realities. And so when you go within yourself, you understand the spiritual reality, you understand how to get to your spiritual self, then you can ultimately influence the physical world. And we're speaking how to cultivate yourself spiritually, how to gain salvation within you, how to resurrect the Christ within you. And basically this is getting to the universal aspect within your very being, getting within the star force within you, the light-coded aspect of the wise men within you. I read the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the many different books. The book on the what's it called? The let me slow down. The Beduneter. So many books. The Gnostic Bible. The Nag Hammadi. Many different books. But mainly, if you really want to get a better understanding, you should read the Bible in many different languages. Then you will get an overall understanding and try to break down the language in and of itself. because learning languages is learning about different ideologic ideological views on how one lives their lives. Language is a reflection of how one thinks about themselves and what one carries within the essence of who they are, and it is expressed through the language is who they are. If you look in America, right now America is the boiling pot of culture. It has no culture in general, and so if you look at the language in America, it's um, it's it's very lacking of a spiritual insight. It's very lacking different codes of spiritual light, and different languages, mainly ancient languages. Um, the Kemetic language being Meduneter, is, or the language, the language of the gods, is actually the oldest language that can be deciphered. There's older languages, but that's the oldest language that can be deciphered and understood. So when we look at this language, we begin to realize deeper concepts to who certain people are, and to the ancient Kemites, they were seen as, you know, their language was the language of the gods. They considered them beings of gods, or and many actually certain scholars even believe that this culture of our ancient, you know, human life, actually were deities, actually were gods. So when you really look at the deeper aspects of who we truly are, you begin to understand that there is a deeper aspect to nature, and then you would have the power to overcome who you think you are. And so it's about understanding these archetypes, through the science of natural philosophy. And the science of natural philosophy is the understanding that, the esoteric interpretation of the hidden aspects of self through cultivating yourself spiritually. And what I mean by cultivating yourself spiritually is by breathing techniques, different techniques that allow you to enter into the spiritual state of consciousness. It allows you can actually build an altar for this type of work, and there's many different types of videos. You can access all of this information that I'm telling you, through just reading and going to many different sources for your understanding, and base your own understanding off of what you experience, not from what somebody told you. And I'm telling you to research for yourself. Debunk what I'm saying. Research it for yourself. And so when you initiate and take over your universe, you become your Ras head. And when you become your Ras head, you become the spiritual master over the universe, or over the physical body, in which you think you are. The physical body is the temple of the Most Highs, and this is the most important aspect, is to understand that when you realize your body is the temple of a living entity, of the living entity that is living forever, you realize that all this metaphysical sciences, spiritual sciences, including alchemy and mathematics, and even the scales of music, are all intertwined. And I'm even saying including the movements of Tai Chi Chuan and Taekwondo and different other martial arts systems, are all interacted with an ancient cycle of God force being and light. So when we start to understand that these are representations of the kingdom of God which is within us, and we understand how to access that, we begin to understand the hidden self, and when we understand the hidden self, we bring light to our ignorant self, in a sense. So it's about change, or a transformation, which happens within. And this is a change that is not talking about that you have to make everybody else change. It's a change which happens within yourself. So when you change within yourself, you ultimately influence what on the outside. Because what's within you is on the outside. It's your mind, it's your perception. So when you change your perception to the highest modality, you are able to access the highest aspect of who you truly are. So, and actually when you do this, like I was saying, you initiate the universe. You initiate the Ra said, the spiritual master. And you become at peace and at union with the mystery, the higher self within you. And it's through the handicraft or the art or the particular skill performed within the mind, body, and the spirit. The magic performed within the psyche or the mindcraft, also known as the imagination or dreams, as well as the physical body, such as exercise, and also emotional. So I feel that personally, by allowing us to understand our brains and our different states of consciousness, our different modes of conscious understanding, and different levels of those understandings, we are able to better understand the universe as it is in these ordinary states of consciousness and in a non-ordinary state of consciousness. And actually, reality, there is no such thing as an ordinary state of consciousness. That is just a scientific description. So it's not really what is, it's just a description of what is. So what is can only be described. It cannot be necessarily spoken about. It has to be experienced. So when we get to the higher self, we experience this. And so that's why it's called cultivation. So you're cultivating your soul. You're cultivating the highest potential of thought. And so actually the metaphysical meaning of the Abrahamic language, or the languages, the Abrahamic faiths, the Christianity, Old Testament, Sufi Islam, Al-Quran, and, Judaism, the Tanakh, the Kabbalah, also even the mystical Rastafari. These are also different aspects of, striving for God, different aspects of mystical ways to understand and get to God. So by exercising our I am power upon our natural self in attempt to make unity with the divine spirit, we let go of our will to act in sense consciousness, and we take upon our power to act under spiritual understandings and become and actually work in the capacity of our spiritual master. And when we do this, we ultimately conquer our lower self. And this, by saying this, our lower self means our negative thoughts, negative feelings and emotions that we have, that we think about ourselves and about our realities. So when this is another word for this is called Satan. Satan represents the adversary of the spiritual thoughts, the positive thoughts. But I guess the time is almost out. So if you sat and watched through this video and you like what was said, and you heard what was heard and interpreted what was supposed to be interpreted, and you like it, share with others, and yeah, be on the lookout for the next video. Peace.